think. Something like that. You're with Julian on the Brown. I just want to do a bit on gun control, which rears up every few months and everyone forgets about it. And then someone goes and shoots loads of children and everyone goes nuts and then they forget about it. And it's gone on for ages. So we had the recent school shooting and 3 kids and 3 adults being shot. But it's just the nuts. This is in the last couple of days. Karen Gillis shot dead in New York State after friend pulled into the wrong driveway. A man's been charged with second-degree murder in the US after he allegedly shot and killed a 20-year-old woman as she mistakenly drove up the man's driveway. As the driver was leaving, Mr. Monahan, aged 65, opened fire on the vehicle, hitting Miss Gillis for pulling up the wrong driveway. This is all within 48 hours. Ralph Yarl, black teen shot at doorstep after ringing wrong doorbell. Protests erupt in Kansas City, Missouri over the weekend after a homeowner shot a black teenager twice who rang their doorbell by mistake. Ralph Yarl was sent by his parents to pick up his younger brothers from a friend's house on this is 13th of April, a few days ago then. But went to the wrong address by accident. The suspect shot Mr. Yarl through his door. The teen took 1 shot in the head. A teenager who was among 4 people killed in a mass shooting at a 16th birthday party in Alabama died saving his sister's life. Now, there's this notion of gun control, but there should also be this notion of people control as well. There is a certain thing about having access to guns gives you an opportunity to do a lot more damage than if you don't. The Jim Jeffries gun control comedic sketch remains the best shooting down of every argument about guns. And you'll get people even in Australia saying, "Oh, but the criminals will still have the guns." And it's like, well, how do you go and get a gun if you're not in that world? He was saying, like, what, do I go down the docks at night and just walk around until someone's selling guns? It removes a lot of people from having the opportunity to get a gun. But I think that there is a cultural problem in America because other countries too have a lot more problems with guns, but a lot of access to guns. But in America, there seems to be this thing that your neighbor ringing a bell on your door is reason enough to shoot them dead. A woman driving up your driveway who isn't supposed to be there. And I can't not blame things like Fox News or the media in America for creating a permanently petrified state. Michael Moore, in his iconic Bowling for Columbine, he tried to find out why those 2 teenagers went around the school and shot up all their classmates. But he also extrapolated over the entirety of the gun ownership issue. And why is it that Americans kill each other in much higher quantities per capita than nations with virtually unrestricted gun access? And he came back with the theory that, that you watch the news at night and it's always people, usually black people, being thrown over the bonnet of a police car. It's always talk of murders, and violent crime in America has actually gone down. Your chances of actually being a victim of violent crime has gone down quite a lot over time, over decades. And there's still this notion of absolute terror. And I can only believe that it's the media that presents this on a daily basis, where you think that anyone out there is going to murder you. And it's like Jim Jeffries, again, from his bit, was saying, like, who the hell are you that someone wants to murder you? When you're shooting a teenage guy for knocking at your door by accident? And there's also this other notion as well, and I'm Anglo, and it comes from this Anglo world, which is I spent 3.5 months in Mexico, which admittedly has some problems with gun violence, but mainly centered around the narco trade. But in those 3.5 months, every time I was out at night, I only ever heard Mexican voices raised in song or laughter. I never saw a fight. I could go out tonight in Sydney and watch someone beat someone up. I could go out in London and watch someone beat someone up. There's this fuse that we have for some reason that makes us deal with our problems in the most extreme way possible with no self-control. And you combine no self-control with a media that encourages nothing but fear and an opportunity to actually have a gun in your pocket. It's almost like those three things are the problem that America has with gun control. And cutting off access to guns would be an enormous thing, and that's never going to happen. We can watch children being slaughtered in schools over and over without any gun regulation being passed. And even if we did, we're only talking about, do you know they have 600 plus mass shootings a year, which is 3 or more deaths? 600 a year is the average. So more than, it's nearly up to 2 a day. But those shootings actually aren't as prevalent as the other shootings that go on, which you don't really hear much about. You can shoot someone in America because they've pissed you off. And if someone's annoyed you, why is it okay to just go from being annoyed and angry and having an argument, like in that Alabama house party, to pulling out a gun and blazing to death 4 people? It's a combination of those 3 elements, which is a psyche that has been worn down by the media, access to guns, and I can't remember what the third one was. But yeah, there's no attempt to really address any of these problems. The Democrats sit on one side offering a tiny bit of adjustment here and there, which is shot down in flames by every gun nut in America and becomes this huge issue. And there's no inclusion of the media and of people's personalities. How the media creates people that are so quick to pull the trigger, and how people themselves get into a position where they're so quick to pull the trigger. So I just don't see any way out of it. I mean, you'll still see these shootings that happen in schools, but it's across the board. Gun violence is just absolutely across the board in America, where you've got people that are so quick to anger and so quick to pull the trigger and so have so much opportunity to own something lethal and destructive to actually do it.